Assalamu alaikum and hello everyone. This is a small video explaining how the API works. So as you can see here, everything just works perfectly, and we have also a one-to-many relationship between the department and the employee. So we can see here, if it loads, that each department, the employees in it are listed as well. Okay, and of course for the rest is the same. Okay, and the front end here, okay, you can see you can search by using a query. Okay, and if we remove all the search, it shows all the data into the employee table. You can also edit. For example, this is employee number 5. We can delete him from here. We can edit, and we can also add new employees. So let's explain briefly how this works. So first of all, we have the program.cs file. The program.cs file is the main file that connects everything together. This is the file where when we run the API that first starts up. Okay, then we have the models that are automatically generated since we used scaffolding. So we went with the database first approach. Of course, we have 3 files, one for each table and the context itself. Then later we have the controllers. The controllers are where the endpoints are configured. Okay, then we have the data transfer objects. Of course, we have 3 data transfer objects for each entity. We have the update DTO, the add DTO, and the view DTO. And then we have the helper. The helper is just an object to help with the query. Okay, so it has two things only in it, 2 strings. One is the name and the other one is the email. Then we have the mappers. The mappers, what they do is they help change the DTOs to entities and the entities to DTOs. And then later we have the repositories. The repositories are where the connection between the API, the backend basically, and the database is happening. And later we have the interfaces. So let's see how interfaces interact with the repositories. Okay, so as we can see here, the controller will not do the API, the database calls itself, because that is not professional and that does not follow safe coding principles. So what we do is we do all the database calls in the repositories here. Okay, and then we have the interface. Okay, the interface is connected to its implementation through program.cs, the main file. The purpose of that is abstraction, so that we could, if we want, for example, to do a testing implementation, we can just switch it immediately without affecting anything in the controller or any other file. So let's take a small example of how the API works. This is an add employee endpoint. So first of all, with the post request, we will get the add DTO, and then we will pass it into the repository. Okay, and then when we pass it into the repository will change the employee DTO into an employee entity using the mapper, and then later we will just add it to the database. Here I'm using the entity framework calls. I'm not using the SQL procedures, even though in the code I use SQL procedures, but then I switched back to entity framework works because it is much simpler, and it's not necessary to use SQL procedures. Okay, and then we use context.save changes to update it to the SQL server, and then afterwards we just return the employee entity to the controller, for the controller then to return the HTTP created at action response with the name of getById, the function that will show you the employee, and of course the employee entity. And that's it. Thank you so much.